Welcome to the Authentic Leaders Rising podcast, where high achieving entrepreneurs and leaders come to receive deep, insightful conversations and practical guidance to move from hustle to flow without sacrificing their authentic self and the results. I am your host and Chief Energy Officer, Tammy Cho, a former patient care leader turned international best-selling author, speaker, and face and body analysis expert. Get ready to lead your authenticity, lead your energy, and lead your impact. Hi, everyone. This is the very first episode of Authentic Leaders Rising podcast. Big welcome, big thank you for tuning in here and being here. Now, I wanted to start with laying down the foundation so we could begin on the same page and for you to determine if you are in value alignment with this paradigm of self-leadership and to begin to step into or deepen into your authentic self-leadership and be part of this movement that I'm starting. So let me ask you this. Do you value authenticity, truth, freedom, and abundance? Do you value creating authentic success, not only in one area of your life, but in all areas of your life? Do you value fully expressing who you are? And do you want to raise your energetic vibration and consciousness to create the impact at a level you're meant to create it? Now, if this resonates with you, then you're in the right place. Thanks for being here. You belong here. We are aligned. And I wanted to also start by giving you a bit of background about who I am. Now, I used to be a registered nurse where I took care of patients at the bedside. I also was in an educator role, educating patients and also staff members. And I also became a patient care leader overseeing one of the largest local hospitals here in Vancouver. Now, on my own journey, I experienced burnout, where I basically had a panic attack where I had my heart jumping out of my chest and I had chest pain radiating up my jaw and down my arm, and I struggled to even breathe. And I still remember having this experience. I had this metallic taste of fear in my mouth as I was, wheeled off to emergency in front of everyone at work at the time. And I also experienced having a beautiful daughter and not being able to feel anything for her when she was hitting her very first milestones, and finding reasons to not want to spend time with my own daughter. My mother had left when I was a baby to an abusive father, and so in order to survive and earn my value, I focused on achieving and reaching accomplishments, and I was a people pleaser, and I was truly protecting myself from not feeling all the underlying unhappy feelings, the pain, by numbing out and not actually being, present in my own body. And on the outside, I had it all put together, right? I had people would come to me for, to solve their problems. I was like the go-to person to help people solve problems. I had the white picket fence, right? I became a millionaire in my 30s, and I was married to a very loving man. And still inside, I felt unhappy and unfulfilled and constantly anxious, and these events really started me on my own healing journey, of course. And I focused on trying to master the mind. I dived into personal development. I was taking courses, every month almost. And I was really, I turned into this mindset junkie, and I would tell everyone that I was a recovering, perfectionist, and I became an NLP practitioner, really trying to lay out the logical ways of fixing myself, so to speak. And of course, we know the answer isn't at the mind level. And so I kept on going, and I ventured into energy work. I became a Reiki master, and I started diving into various things: energy healing, Tibetan mastery. I became a shaman and various other energy tools. And I essentially was exchanging healings every 2 to 3 times a week. And when I was being honest with myself, when I stopped doing those healings, I still experienced all the feelings underneath. I was still struggling. I still didn't feel happy. And it felt like a bit of a mask for me. And as I went deeper into things, and I kept on looking because I really value truth and freedom, I pulled into my life 4 years of emotional and spiritual healing. And it really didn't come together. All the puzzle pieces didn't come together until I came across something called psychosomatic therapy, which was a study of the body, mind, heart, soul all together as one, as is expressed through our physical body, through our facial features, our body posture, how we walk, and how we breathe. It really brought it all together for me because it highlighted physically and tangibly through my own body that I was essentially yearning for this love and connection, but I wasn't actually letting it in. I was actually pushing it away. And so this really brought me back to not addressing the body, mind, heart, soul as separate entities or aspects. It brought me to looking deeper within myself, learning to really receive authentically who I was and really loving myself and standing in my own power and leadership. And through these pieces, I healed myself from generalized anxiety disorder, essentially having anxiety throughout the day, depression, and chronic burnout, essentially without medications. And I experienced creating a business aligned with my purpose and my calling. And I've called in abundance, ease, and flow for myself and my clients through going within again and again and being authentically honest with myself, creating in flow what my heart actually wants and needs versus what my mind wants. In addition to obviously trusting my intuition and taking that aligned action, right? And so, what I'm aware of is many start working with coaches because they want to obviously arrive at a different destination or result, right? And honestly, I struggled within myself to fit inside this box because when I work with clients, to learn to support them to learn how to emotionally receive themselves and to truly change their thresholds of receiving, the flow of life opens up for them in more than one area. Often, what starts to happen is that when my clients learn to receive themselves, abundance, ease, and flow begins to open up in many areas of their life, in their business, their relationships, their inner peace and fulfillment, and their connection to life. And so to promise one result truly didn't land for me. And it took myself time to come into my own authentic self leadership, right? Around this for myself and to really stand in it. To me, like this is authentic success. And from there, being able to have that foundation to build from and to expand more and more from there. But it's a success. The success is being built on a place of actually allowing ourselves to really fully receive ourselves. Like that's the core difference. And I also, really found that what clients came to me initially for would change because as they connected deeper within themselves, they realized that it was their mind that created what they wanted versus what their heart truly had wanted or in the way they wanted it, right? Because at a subconscious level, they were working against what they actually wanted and needed, which then creates the experience of, making the experience feel hard because they're pushing, almost like they're pushing against themselves in many ways. And this is what is energetically happening for many people, including my story. And this is why I want to bring this truth to the world to see so many people are pushing and doing all these things, yet they're actually pushing it away at some level. And so what starts to show up with more ease is the thing their heart wants. And it's not always the thing they've been striving and pushing for. And I believe this is what's causing a lot of what's out there, this ability to the pandemic of burnout, of hustle culture. This is a issue that has, become the norm. And I believe we are all being called back to our authentic knowing and a deeper connection with ourselves. Because when we do this, we come back to abundance, self-love, ease, and flow, which is innately who we are. I created this podcast because I see this challenge repeatedly in many of my clients again and again without fail. And with the hustle culture that is out there right now, like I mentioned, right? And as I am speaking this, maybe many of you who are listening could relate. I tend to create clients who were former corporate leaders. They worked in that corporate based environment, right? Who were successful in their roles. They created amazing results in the organization, but they started to feel misaligned with the values of that organization. They started to feel disconnected and unfulfilled, and of course, exhausted and burning out. And they didn't really feel they could fully be themselves or express themselves. And they wanted to break free of that mold and often turn to entrepreneurship. And often my clients have created the 6 to 7 figure success in their business, right? And they have a team. However, they find that they've, doubled their workload, and they find that they're hitting a ceiling of success. Like, meaning after they do, their checks and balances, the profit statement is not reflecting, the amount they feel they should be making. They feel like if they put the amount of effort they put into when they worked in the corporate environment, right, they should be farther along, yet they're just noticing the ceiling. Or they have achieved, the 6 to 7 figures in their business, but they are exhausted and burned out, right? And their body symptoms, their health, right, is not really matching the external system they have on the outside, right? Or they're receiving, the recognition from their peers and the community, but lacking their inner like fulfillment, peace, connection with the family, that work-life balance. And some of them just want to burn their business all down because they're starting to hate it because it wasn't created based on who they really are and what they really wanted. And so what I notice is that many people understand this need for work-life balance, inner harmony, happiness, while creating, abundance and success. And yet there is this, pandemic of exhaustion, hustle culture, and burnout that is being accepted mainstream as the norm, right? And the very aspect of self-sacrifice or not putting ourselves first, whether that is consistently not, trusting our own intuition, saying, yes when we mean no, overdoing, like pushing ourselves, right? And or experiencing like the chronic body sensations or the dis-ease in the body. Like all these things, however they show up, all represent the inability to more deeply receive ourselves and give ourselves what we need. And so this then affects their ability to receive other results. Our relationship with ourselves is our relationship to life. And so the paradigm of authentic self leadership I am birthing and inviting you all to is very much the antidote in many ways to this chronic exhaustion and burnout pandemic that I see, and has to do with it really has to do with learning to raise our receiving threshold to more deeply receive ourselves. Because striving to be authentic leader without connecting more deeply with ourselves isn't leading with the depth of our authenticity, and it keeps us in repeating hustling without the ease and flow and fulfillment. And so when we know what we need to do, but we find that we are conflicted or struggle to allow ourselves to do what is right, this is the invitation to look deeper. Like, how many of you have knew the right thing to do, but you couldn't seem to get yourself to do it, or you would let yourself do it, but you'll still feel guilty, or, judgment on yourself. And so, because what many high achievers, leaders do is that when things are not working, they turn maybe outward to look for new, different trending strategies to really see what everyone else says outside of themselves and to make decisions based on that, or they will make up what they need is like pushing more, and even harder, doing it more efficiently, being more productive. And yet you end up in the same place, right? And almost all the time, when I guide someone through the authentic, energetic leadership formula, often what is stopping them often comes down to two things: their depth of awareness. And number two is knowing how to emotionally receive themselves. Often in the first 2 months of working one to one with my clients, the abundance, ease, and flow starts to open up in their business, their health, relationships, and how they're relating to themselves with love and care. So this new paradigm of authentic self-leadership, what actually starts to happen is it becomes the foundation of our holistic self-care, authentic abundance, happiness, and success. Because we are focusing on your body's wisdom and your connection to your body as the blueprint and as the guide. Your body highlights for us hidden subconscious blocks. Your body highlights for us repressed emotions that we've been holding on to. Your body directly reflects back your degree of energetic alignment, and it brings a new meaning to everything we need is within ourselves as is expressed through the blueprint and connection with our own body. It comes down to really this openness and willingness to show up in radical truth, responsibility, and leadership, to the depth of the connection, to the truth of who we truly are, receiving and expressing our authentic self. How cool is that? It really comes down to holding ourselves accountable through our physical features, body symptoms, and our embodiment, and connecting and leading our energy, our life in this way. And this doesn't start with knowing or understanding this just at the mind level, right? In fact, like many high achieving leaders I work with have all the mindset and the strategies down in place, which is beautiful because once they learn how to make this internal shift, that the strategies are there to support them and support the flow, right? So where this starts is with your depth of awareness inside yourself. It starts with the level of connection and trust within yourself, the level of intimacy and safety you can hold within yourself. It starts with your ability to create belonging within your own body and self and learn to hold places of light and the dark and to move forward knowing the truth of who you are. And the truth is, when we allow ourselves to open up as our authentic selves and lead our energy from that place, we can experience emotional abundance and energy alignment to create the impact and abundance we want with more ease and flow. We are learning to receive ourselves and letting ourselves back in to our own bodies, our own selves. And this starts with you stepping into your authentic self-leadership, leading your energy from this place. When you commit to becoming an energetically aligned leader, as it's expressed through your body, fully expressing your authentic self and your purpose, your gifts, putting yourself first, you'll be opening yourself to receive more authentic success, happiness, and abundance, the way you truly want it. And with the ability to grow, expand, evolve, and reinvent ourselves from this place. This is what this podcast is about. Now, I would love to hear what you think. Like, please send me a message on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know what you want to hear more about. And if a part of you is skeptical and another part of you is drawn in, be curious about that. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending time and energy with me here on my very first episode. I'd love to connect and hear from you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Authentic Leaders Rising podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review so others can find the life-changing content that we're sharing here. We are starting our movement on our way to number 1, and we need your help to get there. If you'd like to connect with other high-achieving entrepreneurs and leaders who are also on their authentic, energetic leadership journey, join our free Facebook community, Energetically Aligned Leaders. Go to pathtotheheart.com/links to join the Facebook group, book your personalized face analysis experience, or to access our resources.